Unveiling the hidden message, a sacred wake-up call awaits your soul's awakening. I never expected a single dream to change everything, yet here I was, standing on the edge of the familiar and the bizarre. The night before, a vivid dream grasped my mind, pulling me into a swirling vortex of colors. Every detail was strikingly brighter than reality itself. I felt the pulsing energy wrap around me, whispering secrets meant only for my ears. I'd awoken trembling, heart racing, with a conviction that something monumental was about to unfold. Doubt gnawed at me. Everyday life felt mundane. My friends flitted about, oblivious to the divine hints sprinkled around us. The sunrises painted with breathtaking hues, they felt like invitations. The rustling of leaves in the wind sounded like voices, calling me to pay attention. I often found myself seated in silence, meditating, but each time I reached for understanding, my mind felt heavier with unanswered questions. Was there more to this existence? What awaited me in the shadows beyond my conscious grasp? The stillness was punctured by the sound of a bird, singing its heart out, perhaps urging me to listen more closely. I stared into the depths of the sky, deep and endless, feeling the weight of the world pressing down with every unanswered thought. Was the universe trying to tell me something? Every spark of light, every subtle change in the air seemed like a sign. As days turned into weeks, strange occurrences wove through my reality. Objects in my path refracted light in ways I had never noticed before, casting peculiar shadows that danced like spirits. I sometimes felt a lingering sensation behind me, a soft breath brushing against my neck, reminding me that I was not alone. Yet, my mind was a tangled web, racing against the clock, desperate for clarity. Who was I? What was my purpose? I felt like an artist without a canvas, trapped in chaos. In moments of dizzying clarity, I'd see glimpses, fleeting images of paths untraveled and destinies unfulfilled. Each encounter filled me with hope, yet uncertainty bubbled beneath the surface. I found myself staring into reflections that didn't quite match the faces looking back, seemed like strangers, lost in some unseen collective memory. And just when I thought I could grasp the pieces of the puzzle, I looked up one evening to see a shooting star streak across the sky. A single tear fell from my eye as I whispered a wish. Was it foolish to believe? Or was it the universe finally acknowledging me, delivering a hint of what lay ahead? The silence around me crackled with electricity, as if the world was holding its breath. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The following morning, I felt the tension in my chest diffuse, if only slightly. The sunrise spilled golden rays into my room, illuminating dust motes swirling like spirits performing their own celestial dance. There was an unmistakable shift within. I felt an urgency for movement, yet my gaze wandered aimlessly outside. The world beckoned, and I needed to listen more intently. While wandering through the park that afternoon, a geometry of sunlight led me toward an ancient oak. I had visited this peaceful sanctuary countless times before, yet today it bore a different weight. Each gnarled root stretching forth from the aged trunk seemed to reach toward me, yearning to share its wisdom. I leaned against its rough bark, closing my eyes and leaning into its texture. An odd hum vibrated through me, a resonance that seemed to echo with the tree's timeless existence. Moments drifted past like fallen leaves, and as I opened my eyes, an ethereal woman appeared at the edge of my vision, cloaked in flowing white. Her hair rippled like radiant strands of sunlight cascading down her shoulders. She gestured toward me, inviting me closer with an aura that felt both foreign and familiar. "You've been waiting, haven't you?" she asked, her voice a gentle breeze that wrapped around my being. My heart pounded in a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "Waiting?" I echoed, craving an explanation that eluded me. "For what? For the signs, for your truth to be revealed." Each moment you ponder, each essence of the universe, is a thread weaving your purpose. But it is you who must unravel it. A flicker of mischief danced in her eyes, giving clarity to an otherwise mysterious exchange. She spoke to me, not with simple words, but with reflections of a truth only I could attain. Will it hurt? The question escaped me before I could think twice, only as much as the birth of stars, my dear. She smiled, and her laughter resonated like the ringing of chimes in the wind, refreshing my spirit. She reached out, brushing her fingers against mine before fading back into the vibrancy of colors surrounding us. I felt an absence that trembled deep within me, echoing those lingering questions that would not rest. As shadows lengthened under the fading sun, I stood, the Remy senses heightened, ignited by purpose. I wandered back down the path strewn with memories, pondering her enigmatic words. What truths lay hidden within the fabric of my life? I was filled with an insatiable longing to discover more. The night grew thick and alive around me. I sought solace in my customary meditative silence, anchoring myself amidst swirling thoughts. As I sat cross-legged on the floor, I envisioned each question as a pebble cast into a still pond, ripples radiating outward in intricate patterns. With each breath, I surrendered deeper into stillness, a sensation of unity blossoming. In that moment, it felt like the universe gathered its secrets and whispered them to my heart, but it was fleeting. Just as clarity illuminated fleeting moments, doubts unfurled, overwhelming me like dark clouds threatening a storm. Who was the woman? A mere figment of my imagination, or a messenger from a realm beyond my understanding? What if my yearning was a distraction from the path I needed to take? And with this swell of uncertainty, I found myself more confused than enlightened. Was I destined to navigate this labyrinth alone? The weight of the universe pressed down again, and I was left panting beneath its enormity. As sleep came, I clung to the glow of the possibility that whispered still, there is more to discover, hints woven into the fabric of daily life, nudging me to remain vigilant. I recognized that every question is a door to deeper exploration, and every moment of peace could yield profound insight, but what awaited me beyond the thresholds I had yet to cross? And would I have the courage to step into the truth that beckoned me? This mysterious journey ignited my spirit with wonder and trepidation. I closed my eyes, faced with the uncertainty of it all, wondering, is discovery merely a shift in perception, or is it a path leading to something grander, waiting to be unveiled? The next morning dawned with a whisper of mist hanging low over the city, each droplet catching the early light and shimmering like tiny jewels. I awoke with a sense of ephemeral beauty surrounding me, a gentle reminder that the mundane could transform into the miraculous with just a shift in perspective. Even my breath felt charged with potential, as though each inhale held the key to unlocking hidden realms. As I prepared to venture outside, I couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary awaited. I decided to revisit the park, drawn magnetically to the ancient oak that had become such a pivotal part of my journey. The air was crisp, laced with the sweet scent of damp earth and awakening nature. Upon reaching the oak's towering presence, I noticed that the atmosphere felt different. The hum from the day before now vibrated through the air, as if other energies were joining in the symphony of existence. I laid my hands upon the rough bark again, grounding myself in the stability that this resilient being provided. In that moment, I closed my eyes, letting the sound of rustling leaves envelop me. Just then, a memory surfaced, the ethereal woman, her laughter like echoes in a sacred space. I longed for her guidance and wondered if she might return. The thought alone created a stirring within me, compelling me to sit beneath the oak and open my spirit to receive whatever was meant to come. Time slipped away like grains of sand, and before long, I felt a shift in the wind. A soft rustle at the periphery of my awareness made my heart leap. As I opened my eyes, I gasped at the sight before me. Tiny, luminescent orbs, the very essence of light, danced around me, weaving intricate patterns in the air. They bounced like fireflies, flickering in and out of focus, and I had an overwhelming sense they were alive. With each breath, I surrendered deeper and deeper to the unfolding experience, feeling as though they were guiding me towards something profound. Follow us, a melodic chorus seemed to resonate in the silence, echoing softly in the recesses of my mind. Compelled by an irresistible impulse, I stood up, instincts guiding me as I followed the glowing orbs deeper into the park, beyond familiar paths, the journey took me to a secluded glade that appeared almost hidden from the rest of the world, draped in a surreal mist that enveloped me in solitude. I felt as if I had stepped into another dimension, one where the boundaries of time and space blurred into eternity. The orbs converged and danced into a single spiraling figure before dissipating, leaving behind a lingering warmth in the air and that sacred stillness. I knelt and closed my eyes, feeling the pulse of life around me. A sense of belonging enveloped me, as if the very fabric of this glade was weaving itself into my soul. Again, the questions I bore within me surfaced, and with that, a clarity started to unfold. What is my purpose? I whispered into the silence. What am I meant to find? Suddenly, a deep rumbling sound emerged, reverberating through the ground beneath me. My heart raced as I opened my eyes, curious yet frightened by the disturbance. From the earthen floor, a flickering piece of light emerged, growing until it formed a small totem carved with intricate symbols and patterns. It appeared ancient yet vibrating with a pulsing energy that felt both foreign and familiar. I picked it up, letting my fingers trace the grooves and etchings, feeling the vibrations resonate through me. Images swirled in my mind, visions of my past entwined with dreams of the future, patches of color manifesting like delicate brushstrokes on the canvas of my existence. The totem felt alive, as if it held the stories of countless souls who had tread the path of self-discovery before me. Gazing at the shimmering relic, I pondered, had I unearthed a key to deeper understanding? What message lay hidden within the etchings? The air throbbed with unspoken truths, leaving me hanging somewhere between confusion and enlightenment. As I clutched the totem with newfound determination, I realized this journey was far from over. My heart swelled with the anticipation of what revelation I might unravel next, yet the vastness of the unknown loomed untouched, waiting to unfold its depths. Rejuvenated, I left the glade, each step resonating with intention as I carried the mystery of the totem close to my heart. I understood now that discovery was not merely about seeking answers, it was about embracing questions that stretched beyond the horizon of ordinary understanding. What wisdom would this totem reveal in time? And how would I learn to decipher its truths? These mysteries wrapped themselves around me like a warm embrace, urging me to leap into the uncertainty ahead. What awaited me in this sacred journey, I could only wonder. The sun began its descent, casting a golden glow over the park as I made my way home, the totem securely in my grasp. Each step felt weighted with significance, as if I were walking not merely through grass and gravel, but through layers of my own conscious awakening. The shadows elongated, stretching across the ground like whispers of the day's secrets, and I entertained a growing curiosity about the beautiful intricacies of my life that were yet to be revealed. As I turned onto the familiar path of my neighborhood, I noticed an old man seated on a bench. His visage was one marked by time, deep lines etched into his face like a map of stories lived and lessons learned. He looked up as I approached, and his warm eyes sparkled with a knowing light that made my heart flutter unexpectedly. "Where are you headed, seeker?" he asked, his voice gravelly yet soothing, as he gestured to the seat next to him. A part of me was hesitant, the other part drawn to his presence like a moth to a flame. "I am on a journey," I replied, clutching the totem tightly. "I seek understanding." The old man's smile widened, revealing teeth that had weathered the test of time. "Understanding is a voyage, not a destination. Tell me, what haunts your heart?" With a deep breath, I recounted my journey thus far, the encounter with the ethereal woman, the luminous orbs, the endless questions of purpose swirling within me. He listened intently, nodding along, the twinkle in his eyes deepening with each revelation. "You have already begun to unravel the fabric of your soul," he said at last. "But understand, the answers you seek will not come from outside you, they will rise from the depths of your own being." He leaned closer, lowering his voice as if sharing a sacred truth. "What is it you truly wish to uncover?" I paused, a multitude of thoughts flooding my mind. "I wish to know why I am here, what my essence is meant to express in this lifetime." Each word felt like setting a piece of my heart free, floating gently in the air around us. "Nurture that desire, but do not grapple for answers," he advised. "Instead, cultivate the soil of your soul. Tend to it with care, for it is in planting the seeds of curiosity that your true purpose will grow." His words echoed within me, and it hit me. Understanding might not be a straight path, but an ever-winding road filled with the blossoms of inquiry. I clung to this epiphany as I engaged with the old man, our conversation flowing like a river unburdened by stone. He spoke of the moments in his own life when questions led him into darkness and, ultimately, illuminated a path towards light. As the sun dipped behind the horizon, enveloping us in twilight, I sensed a shift in the atmosphere, a deep calling to the unknown. The old man reached out, gently placing his hand over mine, where the totem still rested. Each symbol carved into your totem is a story, a facet of your journey, he said. They resonate with energies beyond our understanding. Treat them with reverence, and each will unfold in its own time. He released my hand and leaned back, his gaze distant as if peering into a realm beyond our earthly concerns. Eager to learn but silently apprehensive, I nodded in understanding, aware that the answers might reveal themselves through dreams or serendipitous encounters. Encouraged, I took a deep breath, offering gratitude for this unexpected connection. As I rose to leave, I couldn't shake the impression that his presence was more than chance. It felt like a divine intersection of souls meant to inspire. I turned back one last time to thank him, but the bench was empty now, as if he had dissolved into the twilight mist. As I continued my journey home, questions reverberated within me. What did the symbols of the totem truly signify? What energy would they invoke within me? And how would I cultivate the soil of my soul to allow my purpose to blossom? The mysteries lingered in the air like the last notes from a distant melody, inviting me to embrace the rhythm of uncertainty as a vital part of the journey. With each step, I felt a new awareness awakening. Within, an inkling of the tapestry yet to be woven, what truths lay hidden within the grooves of my totem, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. And how would I learn to listen to the whispers of my own spirit guiding me toward understanding? These questions danced in my mind like the luminous orbs from my earlier encounter, waiting in anticipation for the moments to come. The night wrapped around me like a soft cloak, cool and inviting, as I wandered through my neighborhood. Each step seemed lighter, buoyed by the exchange I had just shared. The memory of the old man's words lingered like the sweetness of twilight, igniting an urgency within me, a call to delve deeper, to seek even more profoundly. That evening, after returning home, I settled into a quiet corner of my living room, illuminated only by a flickering candle. My fingers danced over the contours of the totem as I cradled it in my palms. I closed my eyes, inhaling deeply, allowing my breath to anchor me. With intention, I whispered a silent prayer for guidance, inviting the energies encapsulated within the symbols of the totem to unveil their mysteries. As the stillness enveloped me, images began to emerge like silken threads woven from dreams. I transported myself to an ancient forest, where towering trees whispered secrets in hushed tones. Their leaves shimmered in golden light, and the air shimmered with vitality. A sense of belonging washed over me, as if I had returned to a sacred place. In this dreamlike space, a figure appeared, an ethereal woman dressed in flowing robes that merged with the colors of the forest. Her hair danced like the wind, and her eyes held the depth of the cosmos. She extended her hand towards me, and all at once, I felt both a thrill and a profound fear. "Come closer," she beckoned, her voice a melody that resonated with the very fabric of my being. I took tentative steps toward her, the ground soft beneath my feet, calling me to surrender my doubts. "Who are you?" I managed to ask. "I am a guardian of the stories that lie within your totem," she replied, her gaze steady. "Each symbol represents not only your past but the potential that lies ahead. You are at a threshold, a space where mystery and clarity coexist. It is up to you to peer beyond the veil." The moment was electrifying, and I felt a tug deep within, an awakening of ancient knowledge. "What do I need to understand?" I implored. "Every question holds its own answer, every answer births new questions," she said, and I perceived the layers of wisdom in her words. "You must sit with your curiosity, let it bloom. The answers are seeds waiting for the right conditions to grow. Patience and reflection will bear the fruit of realization." As her figure began to fade, I felt the urgency to grasp her wisdom with tenacity. "Will I know when the time is right?" I called out desperately. She turned, a soft smile on her lips as she answered, "Listen closely to the whisper of your heart. It knows the rhythm of your journey. With her words, the forest dissolved, and I found myself back in my living room, the totem still warm in my hands. My heart raced as I contemplated the significance of my encounter. The symbols engraved on the totem danced in my mind, each one now glowing with potential, resonating with the whispers of the woman's message. But uncertainty remained. How do I cultivate patience? How do I listen intently to the whispers of my heart amidst the clamor of life? I felt the weight of these questions pulling me deeper into my self-exploration, as if they were guiding me toward the profound truths begging to be uncovered. The candle flickered, and a draft swept through the room, stirring an invisible energy. Was this the beginning of a new chapter in my understanding? Would the totem offer its wisdom when I surrendered to the flow of life? As the night deepened, uncertainty transformed into a curious anticipation. What unseen doors were waiting for me to knock upon, and what messages lay hidden waiting for the right moment to break free? With each heartbeat, I knew I was closer to unraveling the tapestry of my existentia journey that promised not merely answers, but a dance of questions illuminating my path ahead. The dawn crept into my room with a gentle sigh, casting soft golden rays that danced across the walls. It felt as if the universe was stretching awake, and I was invited to join its embrace. The totem remained on the table, a silent companion to my fledgling thoughts. Yesterday's encounter echoed in my mind, urging me to take the next steps of my journey armed with curiosity and an open heart. With my morning coffee in hand, I ventured outside. The scents of fresh earth and blooming wildflowers swirled around me, and the sound of rustling leaves mingled with the song of triumphant birds. The beauty of the world came alive like a vibrant tapestry woven together by threads of possibility. I wandered further into the neighborhood, my feet taking me instinctively toward a small, unassuming park that I had often passed by but never truly appreciated. As I sat on a weathered bench, I closed my eyes and took a few deep breaths, allowing myself to sink into the essence of this moment. It was a stillness that seemed to pulse with untold stories waiting to be discovered. Opening my eyes, I noticed an elderly woman sitting not far from me, her face lined with the wisdom of years. She was feeding birds with gentle hands, her eyes sparkling with a serene understanding of the world. Feeling a strange pull, I approached her. "Good morning," I greeted her, curious about the energy she radiated. "Ah, a seeker," she replied, her voice warm like honey. "You can tell a lot about a person by how they share their bread." She gestured to the breadcrumbs scattered on the ground. "The smallest act can change the course of a life, don't you think?" In that moment, I felt a kinship with her, as if she understood the stirring in my spirit. "I believe so. I'm learning to listen to my heart, my journey." "Listening can be a form of surrender," she said, her gaze piercing yet gentle. "It requires trust that you will be guided." "Do you feel ready?" I hesitated. "I don't know what being ready looks like." "Ah, therein lies the beauty of it," she winked. "Readiness often appears not as a grand epiphany but in the quiet nudges of intuition. Sometimes, it's about following the breadcrumbs, allowing them to lead you to unexpected places." Her metaphor tinged with the sweet cadence of truth lit something within me. As I discussed my recent experiences, I realized she embodied one of the symbols on my totem, the wise sage whispering of patience, connection, and understanding. I opened up about the woman in the forest and the enigmatic message I had received. "Curiosity is a spark, it ignites the fire of discovery," she said. "But it is in the silence between the questions where the answers often emerge." Have you tried to sit in that silence? I've been trying, but life often feels too loud, too demanding, I admitted. Perhaps you need to create moments of stillness, carve them out of the noise. Nature has its own rhythm, and within that, you can find your own. She motioned to the trees swaying gently as if they were guardians keeping watch over our conversation. Suddenly, a flock of birds took flight, their harmony painting the sky in vibrant patterns. I watched, captivated, as they danced with an effortless elegance. Do they ever question their path? Or do they simply follow the wind? I mused. They trust the currents, dear one, she replied, her eyes twinkling. They have faith in the invisible forces that guide them, just as you must learn to trust in your own unseen guides. As our conversation deepened, she shared stories woven with lessons from her life, her laughter mingling with the soft coo of the doves at her feet. Each tale was like a breadcrumb, inviting me to ponder the many ways life's pathways unfurl when viewed through the lens of acceptance and patience. Eventually, I stood to leave, feeling an undeniable connection to both her and the world around me. "Thank you for your wisdom," I said genuinely, drinking in every word she had imparted. The elderly woman smiled knowingly. "Remember, my dear, that every step you take is part of the dawning of your own understanding. Embrace the journey, ask the questions but don't rush to the answers. They will reveal themselves when the time is ripe." As I walked away, the sun shone brightly above, and shadows danced on the ground as if the universe was answering with a divine affirmation. Her words echoed in my heart. What does it truly mean to trust the process and to cultivate silence amidst chaos? How do I surrender to the unfolding of my path without anxiety clouding my vision? It was clear I was called to explore these questions further, trusting that the unfolding mysteries would lead me toward a deeper understanding of the sacred messages awaiting discovery. The journey continued, alive with potential, each moment a stepping stone toward revealing not only the layers of my own existence but the interconnectedness that binds us all. As the days unfolded, I found myself increasingly drawn to the park where the elderly woman had shared her wisdom. Each visit felt like a pilgrimage to a sacred space, a sanctuary where the cacophony of life dissipated into a soothing hush. I began to carve out time in my mornings to sit on that familiar bench, allowing the rustle of leaves and the gentle chirping of birds to cradle my thoughts. One crisp morning, a heavy fog blanketed the ground, wrapping the world in a soft, ethereal embrace. I arrived at the park, feeling a deeper sense of anticipation than before. As I settled onto the bench, I closed my eyes, letting the cool mist kiss my skin. There, in that enchanted stillness, I felt a spark of something unusual, a stirring of energy that prickled at the edges of my awareness. Suddenly, a shadow broke through the fog. I opened my eyes to see a young girl, no older than 8, kneeling before a bush, her small hands gently cradling a handful of vibrant flowers. She looked up as if sensing my gaze, her face aglow with innocence and wonder. "Are you going to take those?" I asked, intrigued by her reverence for the blossoms. "They're for my mom," she replied, a proud smile stretching across her face. "She says flowers are magic because they hold secrets and smiles." Embarking on the metaphor of the wise sage, I chuckled lightly, charmed by her perspective. I believe she's right. Each flower tells its own story. Do you have magic too? Her eyes sparkled with curiosity, unfettered by the complexities of adulthood. That I considered her question, feeling the weight of it settle in my heart. I think we all have magic within us. Sometimes we just have to listen closely to find it. At that moment, the little girl stood and offered me a small flower, a delicate marigold glowing in the morning light. "Here. It will help you find your magic." I took the offering with gratitude, feeling an unexpected warmth radiate from it. "Thank you. I will treasure this." With her fingers dancing through the fog as she turned to leave, I mused silently on her words. A child's reminder of the magic that resides in simplicity deepened my resolve to cultivate wonder even amidst growing complexities. As the fog began to lift, a figure emerged from the turning mist, a tall man with an air of quiet strength. His presence was calming, yet he carried an intensity in his expression that intrigued me. He approached the bench, his steady gaze locking onto mine. "Mind if I join you?" His voice was deep and rich, filled with a resonance that felt almost familiar. "Not at all," I replied, feeling the gravity of connection between us. "I'm just soaking in the magic of the morning." "Magic is everywhere if you look closely." He sat down, studying the park with an appreciative glance. "Sometimes it takes a moment of stillness to recognize the wonders around you." "My teacher," I said, a smile creeping onto my lips. "She taught me about the importance of silence." "Who is your teacher?" His brow arched, genuine interest in his voice. "That I met an elderly woman here who shared profound insights about listening, about trusting the process." I gestured toward the empty space where she usually sat. She spoke of curiosity being a spark, igniting a deeper understanding. That he smiled knowingly. "Ah, the sage. She carries the wisdom of ages. But know this, wisdom comes in many forms." "What brings you to seek understanding?" His question sent ripples through my thoughts. "I'm on a journey to discover my purpose, to listen to those inner whispers." Yet, I often find myself clouded by doubt. Doubt can be a shadow, obscuring the light of our truth, he replied, his voice even. But it can also guide you toward your discoveries. Lean into it. What do you fear? Fear of not being enough, of failing to uncover the true essence of who I am. Failure is but a step on the path. The challenge lies in embracing that process. His intensity softened, revealing a compassion that felt deeply grounded. What if you saw your journey as a tapestry actively woven from both light and shadow? Each thread contributes to the whole. His words resonated with a truth I had yet to fully embrace. That's a profound way to view it. So, what's next for me then? That, he paused, allowing the question to linger, is a question only you can answer, but perhaps it's not about planning the next step. Rather, consider what attracts you in the moment. Follow the threads that call to you. As our conversation ranged from art to dreams, I felt a deeper connection to my own quest shimmering at the edges of understanding. After much laughter and banter, I stood to leave, feeling the marigold flower tucked safely in my pocket, a talisman reminding me to embrace the simple joys. Thank you, I said, the words laced with sincerity. Today has been filled with insights I had not anticipated. He nodded, a knowing smile on his lips. We are all but travelers on this journey. Remember to revel in the moments, embrace your curiosity. Above all, do not rush, the winds of truth reveal themselves in their own time. As I walked away, the sun pierced through the scattering clouds, illuminating the world anew. The connection with the girl, the sage, and the man, all woven into a rich tapestry of signs and symbols. What other messages laid ahead, waiting to unfold? This journey, with its questions that still lingered in my heart, pushed me forward, inviting me to trust in the unfolding mysteries yet to be unveiled. What sacred lessons would the universe impart next, guiding me further into the depths of my own awakening soul? The following days spent in the park began to blur together like watercolor on a canvas, each visit bringing more questions than answers. Each morning, under the embrace of the sun or shrouded in mist, I would revisit the bench where the sage and those fleeting encounters filled my mind with considerations beyond the tangible point. One afternoon, as I wandered through the park, I noticed a cluster of people gathered near the pond, drawn as if by an invisible thread. I approached to see a woman painting a mural on a vast canvas set against the backdrop of aged trees. The colors flowed like a river, each stroke vibrant and alive. Curious, I watched her blend hues of blue and orange, capturing the essence of the sky and the warmth of the earth. She caught my eye and smiled, her hands momentarily halting their dance with the brush. Inspired, are you? She asked, her voice melodic, laced with a playful wisdom. Very much so, I admitted. There's something captivating about how you bring the world to life on canvas. Art is a conversation with the universe, she replied, tilting her head as if listening to a secret whisper. Every stroke tells a story that needs to be heard. Do you find answers in your art? I asked, intrigued by the correlation she drew between expression and understanding. Not answers, but questions that lead me on journeys, she said. Sometimes I question what lies beneath the surface, and the painting reveals it back to me. What about you? What questions do you seek? Her inquiry struck a chord, and I hesitated, gathering my thoughts. I seek to understand my purpose and the messages life is trying to deliver. Yet, it often feels as though the truth dances just out of reach. Perhaps you're looking too hard, she mused, gently placing her brush down. Sometimes, the answers come when the mind is quiet. Have you tried letting go of the chase? Her words echoed the sentiment I had encountered before, yet they offered a new layer, a reminder to trust the process, to let go. It's daunting, I confessed. The fear of the unknown holds me back. Embrace the unknown, she encouraged. It is in that uncertainty where creativity thrives. Trust yourself to navigate the uncharted waters. Each moment you hesitate is another moment you miss the beauty of living. Inspired, I nodded, feeling that familiar spark ignite within me once again. I'll try to let go more, to see what unfolds naturally. Excellent. Remember, art is not just what you create, it is how you experience the world, she added, her gaze drifting back to the canvas. Allow yourself the freedom to explore and create your own life's masterpiece. That I thanked her, taking a step back to absorb the scene of vibrant colors reflecting the burgeoning light of my own journey. As I turned to leave, I caught a glimpse of a flock of birds soaring together in the sky, a ballet of movement that sparked something deeper inside me. Later that evening, curled up at home with the marigold flower resting on my desk, I pondered the woman's words. I felt like an artist, on the cusp of painting the next stroke of my Lithia blend of shadows and light, tinted by experiences that brought depth and texture to my existence. Each connection felt like a thread woven into the fabric of my journey, each moment a color splattered on a vast canvas yet to be fully realized. The days flowed into weeks, and I began to embrace each encounter as a lesson, each question as a brushstroke. Life felt more alive, even as uncertainty wrapped around me like fog. With the burden of clarity lessened, I felt a gentle shift towards awareness where doubt once dwelled. What would arise next? What vibrant colors were yet to be discovered on my canvas? With each unanswered question lingering in the air, I learned to revel in the uncertainty, allowing myself to become a channel for spontaneity rather than a mere seeker of definable answers. Little by little, I surrendered, entrusting the universe to paint its stories through my experiences, yet, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows upon my canvas of life, I could not shake the lingering thought. If life was truly a tapestry of questions and experiences, what was the next inquiry begging to breathe its truth into my awakening soul? Days melted into one another, each moment cloaked in the textures of the world around me, as if I was in a long-forgotten dream, straddling the realms of reality and possibility. Inspired by the muralist's wisdom, I spent more time wandering the park, welcoming the chance encounters and uncharted pieces of life. One afternoon, with warm sunlight breaking through a canopy of leaves, I found myself drawn to a solitary figure perched on a stone wall by the edge of the pond. An older man with hair like silver spun from starlight was engrossed in a book that seemed far too heavy for his frail frame. There was a gravity to him that compelled me to sit nearby, as if he were an anchor in a swirling sea of uncertainty. As I settled on the wall, he glanced up, his eyes shimmering like twilight. "Ah, another seeker of truth," he said, closing his book reverently. "What do you pursue in this vast garden of existence?" "I'm still trying to uncover my purpose," I confessed, the words tumbling from my lips unbidden. "The more I search, the less certain I feel." That he chuckled softly, a sound like the rustling leaves. "Purpose is often a phoenix that rises from the ashes of our doubts. Tell me, what whispers in your heart?" There was a weight to his inquiry, prompting me to reflect deeper than I expected. "I hear a myriad of voices that speak of love, creativity, and connection. Yet, I am confused by what it all means." "Perhaps you should listen not just to the voices, but to the silence between them," he suggested, his gaze turning toward the peaceful ripples on the pond. "In silence, the universe speaks. You may find that answers are not always articulated but felt in the marrow of your being." His words washed over me, inviting me to contemplate silence as a fertile ground for clarity. "But how can I trust what I feel when so much noise surrounds me?" "Ah, that is the dance. Life's noise is a symphony, dear one. If you tune into your own melody, you will learn to harmonize with the chaos rather than fight against it," he replied, his voice weaving a gentle tapestry of understanding. "Imagine yourself as a note in a grand composition. What resonates with you?" Tuning into my own melody felt foreign yet liberating. Each unspoken aspiration in my heart began to stir, as if awakening from a deep slumber. "I want to create, to connect with others, to share the beauty I see." He nodded knowingly. "Then allow yourself to create a space for these currents to flow. Join in the music of life and trust it will guide you." As the sun dipped lower, casting golden rays that danced across the water, I felt a surge of determination rise within me. Inspired by the muralist's encouragement and the elder's melodies, I envisioned weaving my own vibrant strands into the tapestry of life around me, but as I stood to leave, I felt the weight of unanswered questions press against my chest. What did it mean to truly live in harmony? How could I navigate my own song while embracing the cacophony of existence? Would I know when I had finally found my purpose, or would it remain an endless chase? As I walked away from the pond, I couldn't shake the sense that the universe was whispering a response, teasing the edges of my consciousness. In that space between silence and sound, I wondered what other truths awaited me in the growing shadows of the evening, and which new encounters would bloom into revelations on this sacred journey of awakening. The cycle of days flowed like a gentle stream, each moment rippling with the teachings of nature and the whispers of connection. My heart had become a reservoir of questions, its pulse resonating with the echoes of encounters past. I often returned to the park, where the elder, the muralist, and the little girl had each planted seeds of insight within my soul, allowing me to grow in untold dimensions. One late afternoon, the sun began its descent, painting the sky in a vibrant tapestry of orange and gold. As I settled on my favorite bench, I noticed an unusual disturbance in the serene fabric of the park. A gathering of people encircled a luminous bonfire, their faces illuminated by the flickering light. There was a palpable excitement in the air, an invitation woven into the fabric of their laughter and shared stories. Drawn by curiosity, I approached the gathering. As the warmth enveloped me, I felt something stir deep within, a resonance that echoed the lessons I had been absorbing. A woman stood at the center of the circle, her arms outstretched, welcoming each participant to share their song, their truth, their journey. Tonight, we honor our stories, the sacred voices that have shaped us, she proclaimed. Come, gather close and share the magic that resides in your heart. My heart raced, a mix of trepidation and exhilaration swelling within me. Sharing my journey felt both daunting and liberating. As others stepped forward to share their tales, each voice wove a piece of a larger tapestry, creating a symphony of human experience. They spoke of love, loss, discovery, intimacy. The threads reflected the very fabric of life itself, intricately connected yet uniquely individual. As the fire crackled, a space emerged that was filled with reverence. Encouraged by the energy surrounding me, and propelled by the truth I had gathered along my path, I stood to share my story, unearthing the journey of questions, encounters, and the quest for purpose. I've been on a search, I began, my voice trembling slightly. A quest filled with uncertainty and wonder. I've navigated shadows and light, yearning for clarity, and each moment has unraveled threads of understanding that have connected me to myself and the universe. It was in the quiet nuggets of wisdom shared by others that I began to see I am part of a larger story. As I spoke, I noticed the faces of the listeners, each person absorbed in the essence of my journey, mirroring their reflections back at me. The energy between us pulsed with something sacred, each voice was a note contributing to an overarching symphony. My words flowed like a river as I expressed how I had learned to embrace questions rather than chase definitive answers. I had come to understand that my purpose unfolded in moments, woven like a tapestry, where every strand of experience was equally vital. When I finished, silence enveloped the circle, followed by a ripple of applause. It resonated within me, this recognition of shared humanity. And in that sacred exchange, I felt a gentle shift toward an unexpected revelation. The woman who had initiated the gathering approached, her eyes sparkling under the glow of the firelight. "Thank you for your courage to share, dear one," she said softly. "In embracing your journey, you have acknowledged the sacredness of every question as the path of becoming. Remember, the universe yearns for your authenticity and will reveal itself as you stand in your true essence." The warmth of her words wrapped around me, filling the spaces where doubt once resided. I realized then that every being present in that circle was not merely a spectator, they, too, were creators writing their stories with the very ink of existence, illuminating the potential for transformation. As the night deepened, the flames danced higher, illuminating the faces around me, etched with a glow that mirrored the internal light awakening within my heart. It became clear, my journey to uncover purpose wasn't about reaching a singular destination, it was an invitation to express, interact, and create amongst the vast tapestry of existence. In that moment, I grasped an inevitable truth: life is not a strict path leading to grand revelations, but rather a fluid dance of discovery and creation. Each question, each connection, each story shared becomes a sacred thread, adding vibrant hues to the loom of life. As I made my way home, the stars began to twinkle above, glistening like a myriad of possibilities in the vast quilt of the cosmos. I felt a profound sense of inner peace wash over me, like the calm embrace of dawn after a long night. I understood that I could close my eyes tonight in gratitude, not only for the answers to come but for the questions that enlivened my spirit. Here, I cradled the understanding that in every breath of existence lies an invitation to weave, to create, to discover. What awaited me, I did not know, but I felt an undeniable current guiding me forward, each step now a brushstroke on the canvas of my life, filled with colors yet to be painted, and as I lay down that night, a silky depth of calm enveloping me, I surrendered myself to the expansive embrace of the universe, whispering a prayer of gratitude to the journey itself, that it wasn't merely about the answers I sought but the adventure that brought me home to myself. In the stillness of my heart, I heard the universe resonate a single, beautiful truth: you are the artist, and life the canvas. Create boldly and let your spirit sing.